There is a moment, early on, where the universe already feels tired. Not broken, not chaotic, just exhausted by control. That's the mood this story begins with, and it matters more than the battles that follow. The film is called Star Wars: A New Hope. It's usually described as an adventure, a space fantasy, a clean fight between light and dark. But that description smooths over something uneasy at its center. This is not a story rushing toward triumph. It's a story watching the old ways disappear, while something colder takes their place. What follows isn't meant to thrill you. It's meant to quietly unsettle you, if you let it. The first images don't introduce people. They introduce scale. Metal swallowing space. Silence pressed flat by machinery. A smaller vessel running, not fighting, already resigned. This isn't courage yet. It's survival. Inside, humans move like they already know they are outmatched, not by strength, but by certainty. Their enemy doesn't rush. It advances as if time itself belongs to it. This is where the imbalance is revealed. One side still believes in effort. The other believes in inevitability. When the black figure steps through the smoke, the room doesn't change because of violence. It changes because of order. Everything suddenly has a place, and that place is beneath him. He doesn't need to prove power. The system he represents already did that long ago. But the story doesn't stay with him. It pulls Hawaii towards something smaller, something fragile enough to be overlooked. Two machines escape into the void, not because they're strong, but because they're ignored. That's the first quiet reversal. Intelligence slipping through arrogance. The future hiding inside what the present refuses to respect. They fall to a desert world that looks empty because it has learned to be. This place doesn't promise anything. It doesn't threaten either. It simply waits. Here, the film slows down, not with spectacle, but with routine. Scraps. Sunlight that offers no warmth. A life measured by chores and distance. This is where the real protagonist lives, though nothing about him announces importance. He stares outward more than he acts. That's not indecision. It's longing without language. He doesn't dream of conquest. He dreams of leaving, and that difference matters. Around him are reminders of a past that once meant something. Tools built for protection, now rusting into myth. Stories told without context, because context would hurt. The adults here don't forbid hope. They dilute Italiano, make it impractical, make it childish. This is how futures are quietly erased. Not by force, by patience. The machines, meanwhile, are treated as property. Bought, sold, argued over. But they carry something no one else does anymore. Memory? They know what was lost, and they don't forget it. One of them tries to run, not because it's malfunctioning, but because it understands urgency. The message it carries isn't a call to action. It's a warning wrapped in trust. The kind of trust that assumes someone, somewhere, still cares. That assumption is dangerous. When the message finally reveals itself, it doesn't explain anything. It asks, not loudly, not clearly. It asks for belief, for risk, for someone willing to step out of the safe shape their life has taken. The boy hesitates. Of course he does. Hesitation isn't weakness here. It's awareness. Leaving means becoming visible. It means choosing uncertainty over managed disappointment. Before he can decide, the world decides for him. Violence arrives, not as chaos, but as procedure. Clean lines across the sand. Band remains without witnesses. There is no speech, no justification, just the evidence of what happens when control feels threatened by potential. This is the moment people often remember as motivation. But it's not rage that moves him forward, it's absence. The sudden understanding that staying no longer protects anything. He leaves behind what shaped him without ceremony, not because it didn't matter, but because it already belonged to the past. The man who guides him next is not a savior. He's a remnant, calm, deliberate, and quietly out of step with the world as it now exists. He speaks of an older balance, but he doesn't sell it. He simply lives as if it once worked. What he offers isn't power. It's perspective, a way of seeing that doesn't rely on domination, and that, in this universe, has become radical. They travel toward noise and movement and trade, a place where survival means adaptability, where loyalty is transactional and trust is a liability. Here, strength isn't moral, it's practical. They find a pilot who understands that difference better than anyone. He doesn't believe in causes, he believes in getting through the day intact. That's not cynicism, that's experience. His companion, half-seen and constantly misunderstood, mirrors something the film never states outright. Evolution doesn't ask permission. It just arrives, and people decide whether to fear it or follow it. Together, they move closer to the heart of the conflict, though none of them fully grasp its shape yet. What they're walking into isn't a battlefield. It's an idea made physical, a structure designed not just to destroy, but to discourage, to make resistance feel outdated. When it appears, it doesn't inspire, it inspires compliance. That's the difference. Inside, the corridors are endless. Clean. Impersonal. This is not a place built for living beings. It's built for function, for certainty, for the removal of choice. And yet, something fragile has entered it, something that doesn't belong. This is where the story quietly turns, not through explosion, but through proximity. Small decisions begin to matter again, not because they're likely to succeed, but because they shouldn't exist here at all. The characters don't understand it yet, but the threat they face isn't just destruction. It's replacement, a future where intuition, belief, and even doubt are inefficient. As they move deeper, the question stops being whether they can win. It becomes whether the universe still has room for the kind of life they represent. And that question is left hanging in the silence between metal walls, unanswered, watching them move forward anyway.